Hello, this is Hannah Klein. Welcome to my podcast, Hannah Klein's Time. So, before starting my podcast, I would like to ask you for maybe kind donations, if possible. And I really would like to ask you for it to please support my work. And I would like to discuss various topics with many people. And also, I would like to post more on Substacks too. Anyway, so a lot of news media in Japan have very different views, but I would like to start with this. This was posted by Prime Minister's advisor, Caroline Gulick. So JNS poll says, well, it's from Channel 14 poll published on Thursday, but nearly 2/3 of Israelis rate Prime Minister's prosecution of war excellent. Okay, I believe this is true. This is very close to the reality. I mean, it's excellent, really. I believe that it was the right timing, and it was very, very well organized conduct. And I just I have to say this. This is very, very disappointing, but I am very disappointed at the way the Japanese media are broadcasting on the war of Israel. About 20 years ago, I have written about this before, but there was a person that I had discussion with on nuclear weapons, to be honest. I actually disagree with the official statement of Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan, and at the same time, I disagree with most of the Japanese opinion. Precisely, I am against them. It has to be a realistic opinion. I mean, in the time of the war, what is important is that we have ties together, strong ties together. And now Japan is saying, oh, we're not going to care. We're on my own, all these things. And Prime Minister Ishiba's words on Israel in Japan was rude and terrible. That's the only thing I can say about him. And in case of the urgency of Japan, I cannot believe the current situation of disaster in Japanese politics. And I'm not going to be just dropping something on Japanese politics, but overall, I do not want to get into the Japanese domestic politics because I have to get into this. The Japan banned, the execution of the postal services for 5 years because they violated certain rules. Okay, I am stunned, and I don't have words because postal service is something public. Okay. It has to serve for the civilians and people. And at the same time, in the war, in the time of the war, postal services are inevitable. And now, Japan is saying, well, we don't care about the postal service. Let's get out of it. What is going on with this politics? And, I mean, it's just disaster. I mean, okay, the Prime Minister doesn't say anything. Yeah, it's a problem. I mean, he should be ordering some kind of lenient, like, I have to say that monitoring the Postal Service or other options that must have been given before that ultimate ban. It's just, it's not about, okay, I'm not talking about this idealistic issue, but this is a realistic issue for people of Japan. Or I guess it's, the government itself is going to be in trouble without the Postal Service. This is a ridiculous situation. But, well, the Japanese politicians don't seem to care. And Prime Minister, I don't know where he is. Like, his mind is just up somewhere else all the time. Because I cannot believe that he is very focused on any topics. And I have to bring this up. But Ishiba had a discussion with President Trump for 30 minutes. He made a lot of terrible statements about Israel in Japan, and then he agreed with G7. Well, Japan had to join the democracy and freedom. And I'm not saying this is about good or evil, but this is a realistic issue for Japan. Crisis. But I don't think people seem to care. People like to like information propagated by the Japanese media. Like I saw a poll. Okay, the Japanese media, 90%, 99%, I have to say, of them said, "We are very concerned about the situation of the war." Okay, hundreds and hundreds of times, and then they made a poll. We're worried, less worried, and then 90% said we're worried. Well, if you imprint people information and then give a poll, that's not a fair poll at all. But the Japanese media is actually, well, obviously controlling the information for some reason. And they believe that they can create stories because they always focus on Iran, okay? And they do not broadcast the real information on Israel. Or they do not try to at least, for example, invite anyone from the Western democratic countries open to discussion on the wars, okay? They're like, we're going to deny anything about the war. Maybe idealistically, that's idealistic. Well, that's very idealistic. However, there is a reality that Japan has to be Japan. Or maybe they think it's fine if the southern part of Japan becomes China. Because communist China, okay, that's like Shinocentrism, okay? Ultimate Shinocentrism and communism mixed together. And it is just very, very disgusting ideology that is just ruled by communist China right now. But southern part of Japan, okay, there is a realistic issue of territorial integrity in case of real urgency. And then I have to say, they criticize Israel because they defend itself. And I really wonder why they do such a behavior. And then, on the other hand, they start to say, I don't support any wars. And so Yahya Sinwar, that's the head of the URA, right? That was the head of the URA. He died. He was killed. It's a tragedy for the Japanese media for some reason. Like, I don't know why, but the Japanese media like to advertise almost theological ideology. Because I was thinking about this for a long time, and I wonder why still. But they really like this kind of ideology for some reason, and they really adore Iran. so when they broadcast, they bring up the scenes of the disasters of Iran, of course, because it's not because of the war crimes, but it is because of the war crimes committed by Iran. Okay, preemptive attack is under international law. This is not a violation of international law in the first place. And think of one nuclear weapon dropping on the land of Israel. I have to say this. If there is no Israel for the Jewish people, or I have to say, I do not, okay, I will support Zionism, even though I am not a Zionist exactly. I do not exactly understand. However, I really adore the ideology, and I really love Jewish people as well, like personally. And, you know, they are just really nice people. And, yeah, I really do care. I really do care, and at the same time, I am not making up stories when I ask family background from the Jewish people, because this is something that people need to understand. And a week after next, I would like to invite a movie director, you know, who films and educate Holocaust. I believe that it's a great idea to do it, really. I mean, it has to be remembered. And documentary films have real values at some point when documenting the information at the right time. But tomorrow, I would like to invite, okay, when it comes to Israel, politics does not matter to me because it's for Israeli people. And I actually do not discuss so much politics with people. I just become friends and talk about various things. Yeah, I'm very open-minded at some point. And so I would say that okay, I have to discuss. I have to focus and discuss it. But when I look at the Japanese media, Al Jazeera, okay, every day, people do not realize that's a propaganda. I mean, that means that I guess that the level of probably, I guess, like judging the situation in Japan is somehow mistaken. And this is also dangerous as well, because timing is everything. And I do not understand what the Prime Minister of Japan is doing right now. And I do not believe that he understands what he's saying. But I'm not saying, like Trump, oh, king, something like that. Realistically, he really holds a really important opinion. Okay. I thought over and over, see, it takes time to understand. And also, I would be a little scared of certain things. But I really believe that Japan must support President Trump. Okay, and I do not understand why people start to say democracy lost. I mean, that's a kind of like agitation against the U.S. politics at some point, and I don't understand why it's happening. Yeah, that's my question too. And I mean, there has to be a reason why this is happening. But yeah, I need a little more information for that. But I really have to say that I need to really I really don't understand why NHK has been broadcasting the propaganda media, and also what is the information of the casualty that was reported on Israel today. Okay, this is ridiculous. They told a ridiculous number on Israel, and then they told it was the wrong information that they were saying. And you know what? A lot of media are just reporting something out of whatever, nowhere, and then they're reporting something all the time. And actually, the IDF official accounts also disclose information, but maybe I have to say I don't want to talk about my friends because they have their privacy as well, but I am close to military service members, and I really care about their safety too. And also, I care about the IDF. I mean, I pray for Israel, and I pray for freedom for Iran. Because Khamenei, okay, I'm not going to talk about what's going to happen to him, but he's psychologically a little sick. Yeah, he posted something. He posted something. Just a few hours ago. The Iranian nation will stand firmly against any imposed war. Okay, this is something that Khamenei has been propagating as the terrorist organization for a very, very long time, 4 decades. And Japan respects this bastard. He kills hundreds of people every year. And this is just enormous. I mean, I see every time I see the scene of the death penalty, punishment, or abuse, you cannot imagine how terrible it is. If you document, for example, what happened in the war, okay? Prime Minister Shiba talks about Tokyo bombing. Why it happened? Please think about it. I will not tell why. I mean, I do not want to tell the answers, but I really hope, because, this is not a place to give answer. But I really would like you to think a lot of things. Maybe, yes. And probably I would like to open discussion with maybe certain members, limited numbers of people, or I may do it. I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to do it, but I would like to start it as well. But Iran has committed crimes against humanity for 4 decades, and Japan does not care about it. Okay, is this democracy? What are the media doing? They're now reporting, oh, it's terrible, Iran's bombed, and it's on fire, right? The TV station was on fire. I mean, that TV station is a propaganda machine. Why? Well, think. Okay, that is the place where soldiers are motivated and brainwashed by those ridiculous propaganda. And maybe, well, I would say that I don't understand why they trust the propaganda in the first place, because if I listen to it, I start to assess what people are saying, and then I have to think of the answers from time to time. But it is very, very crazy. I just don't have words on certain issues, and I really, what I believe. I have to go back to the Holocaust, but I see Father's Day's blog, for example, of someone I have known, and I know his past. he did not want me to talk about it because, it was kind of private to him. I mean, he told me a lot of stories about his family, but it's very heartbreaking. Okay? It is very, very heartbreaking. And in the middle of the podcast, it's very difficult. Okay? I'm not just nodding like whatever. I have a lot to think over because they tell honestly with their heart, and I really feel disrespectful if I just nod and listen. However, I have so much to think on what life is about. And it's not the past, okay? It's not a history. History exists. I mean, it's not the past. It does exist now. And many people think of 6-Day War. That it was a very, very, I have to say that, courageous, act by Israel. But, people say that was the violation of the international laws. I mean, they do not probably understand international law, right? Or what? Yeah, I just get I got so many posts or replies or whatever. When I posted on Israel, I used to have terrible comments for some reason, and I was shocked because I don't have words on what they say, really. I mean, it's disrespectful, rude, disgusting, and then I just move on. But I try to move on, but probably I have to say what I think. But ultimately I have to care about my physical security. Because I have been yelled at by the Chinese in the middle of Washington, D.C. And I really was appalled. They don't know me, okay? These people who yell at me, I was not even dressing like a flag or something on my body. I was just dressed in a formal, casual, whatever, and just walking around. And, so all of a sudden just, people came up and just yelled at me. I mean, that's very, very inhumane. And I don't care being yelled, but I don't like physical assault. Okay? I don't like physical assault against people or abuse, basically. And I will just move on. I don't care what people say at this point because of Japan. But I would say this is another dangerous situation that Japan has. However, Japan has to assess the right time at the right moment. I mean, at the right in the really time. But somehow the decision-making process now is broken. And the media is a disaster. And there was a faculty from Hitotsubashi University, he was saying, well, there will be a disaster coming, basically. And that was caused by Israel, okay? So what is the opinion on TV? Nothing, okay? They are not telling anything, and then they just, I don't know, they just, cry together with the media. That's what happened in the 1970s, okay? That's when the Japanese terrorists attacked the embassies of of United States and the Western countries, bombed the embassies, okay? Those Japanese terrorists, JRA and other groups, fled to Lebanon, and they were just screaming, "Free Palestine!" And do you know where these PLO, they were supporters of PLO. They trained PLO. The worst kind of act in the human history, I think. And the Japanese probably don't know about it. Okay, this is a humane act against Israel. And Israel does not condemn Japan because they consider what happened during the World War II. I mean, I would just be more probably strict on what happened in Japan regarding the situation because of Japan, okay? This is not because of the United States who started the war. Japan did. I do not tolerate on this, okay? I don't care what happened. But this is a real fact and start of the war. And Japan did not even declare a war against the United States because of the time difference. I mean, like, it's crazy. But anyway, when Israeli people lose Israel, there will be another Holocaust for sure. Okay? That's one main reason I support Israel. This is for a humane reason, I think. And at the same time, it's for the peace of Israel and the region, because that's what Israeli people or Zionists have always thought about. And tomorrow's guest is Sagi Simchon. He's an entrepreneur. His relatives are from political family. He will introduce himself. But when it comes to Israel, I really do not care, and he is a very nice person. So I would like to discuss anti-Semitism, Zionism, what he thinks of Israel, and so forth. And this is not about domestic politics of Israel, okay? So please do not consider of Israel that way. But I really would like to openly discuss politics, basically. Not about politics, but the views or values of Israel, I have to say. And so we're going to get off of politics, and we're going to be discussing for about an hour on various topics. But anyway, yes, and I would like to expect more guests and in the future. But anyway, I really believe, okay, I have to say this. Jewish people needs Israel. And that's an ultimate homeland for them. And they really need it, because if they lose it, they're going to have another massacre. Really. And it's going to happen for sure if they lose Israel. And what Khamenei is saying, well, they're joking about it, okay? Not Khamenei, but other countries, who are basically criticizing Israel. They're not seriously looking at the facts. I mean, there is a reality crisis, okay? I don't know why, okay? Jewish people get assaulted in public, okay? This is not humane, okay? This is not about this is terrible, okay, as a human to do it. Attacking people because of religion? I mean, why do they do that? But it happens all the time. So, I mean, we cannot get away with it, and we have to consider it as well. But you know what? Nobody in Japan wants to talk about the assaults of the Jewish people. But it happened on October 7th already. That was horrific. I could not speak for months about this. But it was just terrible. And, it was just terrible. And it's very heartbreaking to speak with people on October 7th. But I would like to end this podcast, and please listen to my podcast tomorrow with Sagi Simchon. Okay, his relatives are politicians, but you'll be surprised. But okay, anyway, I hope you have a good night, and I guess good evening to Israel. And I hope that all of you have in the United States have a good day. Good night.